wake up. It's the first of the month.
Hello, and welcome back to the girls' room. It is really hot, miserable, gross, and humid in New York City right now, and I just can't stand it. I gotta keep it real with you guys. I am struggling to show up these last couple weeks, and I am truly just like forcing myself to do it. And yeah, because like I said, I don't want to just be like a highlight reel of all good things. So my week has just been kind of like up and down. And I want to talk a little bit today about how hard therapy is when you are doing the work, because therapy is such hard work when you are working it. And I just, in the beginning, you kind of think, oh, like, this is easy. Like, I just talk about things that I need to talk about. And then you start really peeling the layers back, and you have this, at least me, I'm having these super crazy, like, revelations that I did not. That beeping is going to send me into a spiral. Oh my God. I'm having these revelations that took time to show their faces, but they are here. And I don't know how deep I will go into things, just kind of gonna roll with however things are like kind of coming out. But it's like something you don't realize it's happening until it happens. And my therapist said to me this morning, because I had a session this morning, that old school kind of therapy works this way, where they start really slow with you uncovering things, and it might feel in the beginning like it's not kind of doing anything, but it's that way and designed that way on purpose and intentionally, because if you unravel all of it just like that from the jump, you'll drown in all of the emotions and all of the things that start coming up for you. And I have therapy every 2 weeks, so like roughly twice a month. And within the 2 weeks before I see her again, all this stuff comes up for me. And a lot has been coming up for me in the last couple months with my engagement. And like I told you guys, I was having some changes in relationships with someone in my family that I need to not have a relationship with, and don't have one at this time with them. And so many things are just coming up, and I feel so down because I am actually kind of just like sad for like little Clarissa, like the little girl that I'm actually getting a little bit emotional. This like little girl that didn't have control of a lot, and only, I was not expecting to cry, but I'm gonna keep going because this is also kind of therapeutic for me. And when you hear all of this stuff about your inner child, and to like talk to your inner child, like, I don't know, some people think it's like bullshit, but I think for me what it means is that you're trying to heal the parts of you that have never been healed because maybe you never dealt with it, or you just weren't emotionally mature enough to handle it. And a lot of adults wind up dealing with this when they're in therapy, And, you know, it makes a lot of things come up. And for me personally, I can only speak to my experience. You know, I realized that I carried a lot of blame for things that were never my fault, and things that I didn't have control over, and things that shouldn't have been. And listen, you know, my childhood overall, I had a you know, a blessed childhood as far as like, you know, it could have been worse, but I also think I'm doing myself a disservice by trying to say, well, at least I wasn't, you know, I don't know, something worse. Like, because no matter how you grew up or whatever the situation was, you still are allowed to have hurt and pain. And there was a lot of tumultuous things that went on. And, you know, I never once in 34 years till this year, within the last 6 months, actually said out loud to myself, you are just a kid. And no one else around me really said that either. So me apologizing for things as the years went on because I felt guilt that I caused hurt or pain, but really the hurt and pain that I may have caused was a reaction to the environment that I was in, and me feeling like I needed to advocate for myself. And I always have from a young age, I will say that. So yeah, I just have all this stuff coming up, clearly. And I film on the same day that I have therapy. And I think this is the first time that I ever actually got emotional. And I haven't really cried in a while, so maybe it's time for a good cry. I didn't even cry during therapy today. So, yeah, I guess things are just, you just like marinate with things, and you just have more and more and more and more that comes up. And, you know, everyone, I think I truly believe when I say this, I think that everyone was doing the best that they could at the time with the cards they were dealt. You know, I had a lot of love around me as well. And, you know, this is me like trying to balance, which is a human reaction, because I don't want it to come off like I had this terrible childhood and everything was bad, and that certainly wasn't the case. But like everyone, there are things that, you know, they fuck you up. Everybody has them. Thankfully, mine are not, you know, the extreme of it by any means. And like I said before, I'm just not comfortable fully getting into full detail, so it will be hard for you as a viewer to really gauge and know and all the things, but I'm just not there. Maybe later on I will be, but you know, I don't think I also need to, because this isn't about like bashing anyone or blaming anyone or anything like that. It's more about releasing the burden that I've carried and that I felt through my formative years into adulthood that I didn't realize. So, you know, therapy is just work. And it's work that I recommend everybody do on themselves, because even if you have like the best life ever, we all have things that we went through in our childhoods that shape who we are as adults. And I'm really grateful that I have this self-awareness to hone in on a lot of things and pinpoint things and situations and really see this like bigger picture, which, you know, unfortunately not everybody is self-aware or wants to do the work to become self-aware or to learn more about themselves, which in turn just makes you better. And all I want is to be better. That's all I want. Just like our parents want us to do better than they did. I want to do better so that I can be a better mother, I can be a better partner, I can be a better friend. And, you know, it's a continuous journey. We are always, or should always be trying to get better. And this is stuff that I've needed to work through for years. You know, I was well aware that I needed to work through it. A lot of things would trigger me, and I would get so emotional around a, you know, certain topic or person. I just would like be waterworks and emotional and kind of just like fly off the handle. And I want to have control of my emotions, because that's the most powerful thing that you can have. You being in control of the way you respond and react, and truly are at peace with yourself with those responses and reactions, is like so powerful. Emotional maturity and self-control is like a skill that if you can get, it's priceless. And it takes work to get there. I'm overall a pretty calm person. I mean, I do have a little bit of a temper, but you really got to be doing the most to get me to show my temper. And you know, I don't want to replicate the things that were done to me. I want to break cycles. And I do think that this is the generation of breaking cycles and saying no and putting our foot down and saying, I'm not going to continue this. I'm not going to continue this toxic behavior. And, you know, I don't believe in the no contact thing when it's just like abrupt, or like, not abrupt, because sometimes it has to be abrupt. Every situation is different. I just think if you are going to do the no contact thing, depending on who the person is, of course, I think it should be like really well thought out. There should have been an effort behind it. And then you have to make the call and use some discernment. And, you know, you got to be good with you, and you got to listen to your body and know when something is really just triggering you and putting your, like, just your nervous system is just like responding to it. You don't feel right. You feel sick. You know, you feel like it's toxic and unhealthy to be around a certain person. Like, you just have to listen to that. It's not without reason for me in this case. And it's been a very long time of me feeling like I couldn't ever really be myself. Feeling like I had to pretend to be a different way. You know, and me coming out was probably the biggest me being me that I could ever do, obviously. But also realizing that with all the things that were going on during my teens and like just those years where you're growing up, I didn't even have the mental capacity to like be in touch with myself to know that like I like women. You know, like the thought might have been there in the back, buried, and I just, you know, I was like boy crazy, and I would talk to boys and this, that, and third. But like that was always in the back of my head, and I just never, I didn't feel safe enough to, first of all, to even think the thought. Just like I didn't feel safe in the environment to say those things. I didn't. And I probably didn't feel safe with myself either, because I was just trying to find stability in those times and searching for distractions. And, you know, I was a very busy kid. I played a lot of sports, and, you know, I just didn't have like the space or the time to really have that conversation with myself or with anyone else. So how could I tell anyone if I just didn't even explore it or think about it or anything else? And the more I like really start unpacking, I'm like, yeah, That was always there. I don't know if it's bi or gay or whatever. I don't like really label myself. Like, I very much just like love who I love, and like I'm a free-spirited soul. I always have been. That's my nature. But yeah, I just think like if you haven't even had that conversation with yourself, how are you going to have it with, you know, the adults in your life when you are in your teens or whatever the case is? So I'm just really learning a lot about myself and all of the parts of me that were like hidden away because I just couldn't go there. And now I can as an adult, and I'm so glad. And I think I needed the right person to make me feel safe and make me feel comfortable. And like I said, I think I just like love who I love. And I'm so grateful that I got here, because I think there was a reason my relationships failed prior. Many reasons, you know, and there was a missing component that I get in my relationship with Amanda that I've never had before. And I've spoken about that before. The understanding and the emotional maturity is just like on a different level. And I never had that in any of my relationships with men. And, you know, there just was always this missing component. And I needed the right person to be in my life and to find that person, and I did. And I'm grateful that I'm here now. And I'm grateful that in my life I got here, and it wasn't, you know, something I just shied away from forever. Because that's sad. And people do it. They do it all the time. You have people coming out when they're like 80 years old. I'm glad they finally did, but you know, then you have people that never do. So yeah, that's just like my personal story, and me just like threading together all of these pieces of my life that make more sense now. And although it's like really painful to be like going through this and doing this work and being sad and emotional and feeling let down and feeling disappointed and feeling shocked and feeling angry and everything that you could feel, at the end of it, I feel peace. I feel at peace. That I don't have to pretend, that I don't have to appease, that I don't have to show up where I don't feel loved, that I don't need people in my life that I feel love me part-time when I have people that love me full-time and truly unconditionally. And, you know, what's the point of anything if you don't have love? I truly, truly feel that. What's the purpose if there is not love? And I don't just mean a romantic love. I mean the love between a parent and their child, the love for animals, the love for nature, for everything. Like, everything is driven by like love. And that's beautiful. And it's also hard when you're such a lover girl and you deal with people that are not. And I'm a highly emotional person. And I am also highly emotionally intelligent. And I know that I am. And I can say that confidently. And I'm only getting better. And I'm only getting more emotionally intelligent. And the more emotionally intelligent I get, the less capacity I have. Not to say I'm not tolerant, because I am. And I try to meet people where they're at. But I'm not going to put myself in situations just for the fuck of it when it's like at my detriment. Because I am so emotional and I am so tuned in, and I do give many, many fucks. I care a lot. That's no secret. So for me, I'm not someone that's like, fuck you, I don't care. That's not my personality. It never will be, and I don't want it to be. Do I wish sometimes I had a little bit more fuck you in me? I do. I don't even know if I could curse on YouTube. I do wish I had a little bit more of that in my personality, because, you know, it's exhausting just being a lover girl all the time. But at the same time, when you experience love so deeply and so intensely, it's like the best thing in the world. So, and I mean that, like, again, not just romantically, for everything. Like, the way I love my dogs is like the greatest love of all time. I mean, animals are just angels, literally earth angels put here by God. They are the best, even when they're being bad, even when they're doing all the things they're not supposed to do. They are 1,000,000% the best, you know? The love and connection that you can find with your friends, with your partner, with your family, like, it's priceless. And what's a world without love? A scary, scary place. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at this week. I don't even know if I made any sense in this episode, or if I'm just like rambling my thoughts, but I think that this is the rawest I've ever been on an episode, and it's pretty cool that I'm comfortable enough to do that at this point. But, you know, this is my real situation in real life, and like I said, it is therapeutic to talk about. And even though I'm in therapy and I talk about it there, you know, sometimes you need to talk about it more. So this is me talking about it more. And I'm really grateful that I have somewhere to do that. And I'm really grateful for all the people that are here. Like I said, I'm trying to lean more into gratitude. I'm still not in the best headspace, but I'm working on it. And that's all anybody could do, is work on it, work on themselves, try to be better, try to do more, and know that progress isn't linear. I say that all the time. It's not, you know, sometimes you're going to fall back. I'm progressing in some ways and falling back in other ways. Like I said last week, I'm still in this rut, not sleeping great, not going to bed early. I'm doom scrolling on my phone. I'm not being productive. I'm just like in a funk. But I'm trying to not be too hard on myself, because I am dealing with a lot of other things personally that for someone like me really do hinder some of my productivity. And it's not the best trait, because I wish I could compartmentalize more, but I am just so bad at compartmentalizing, like, until I'm really over something. And once I'm over it and like have worked through it, then I'm like very like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I could walk past you like I never even knew you. Like, and I'm totally fine. But I'm very much someone that has to go through every single emotion that comes up. I have to feel it in real time and deal with it in real time. Because when you put stuff on the back burner, it's always going to come back. People love brushing shit under the rug, and they live this life of delusion, quite frankly, where they just never acknowledge any of the pain, hurt, or anything that they have to deal with. And like, it's just super unhealthy. I don't think you need to dissect every single thing you go through, but the big things, like, you got to deal with them, because they're going to come back to bite you in the ass. I promise, I promise, I promise you. And a perfect example of this, I always used to say this in previous relationships with men. Women, for the most part, deal with things as they come in that moment. Men do not. So they break up with you, or you, whatever, you guys break up, and then you're upset, you're a mess, you're like just dealing with it in the moment, doing whatever you have to do, going out, going crazy, crying, drunk texting. You're doing all of the things. For the most part, women, that's how we operate. Like, we deal with it as it comes, we get through it, and then we're past it. No matter how long it takes, we finally get to the other side of it because we've dealt with it as it comes. Men, you're like, oh, I haven't heard from him. I can't believe it. We broke up. He hasn't said a word to me, blah, 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 blah. All of this stuff, because they're out being idiots and doing whatever and dating this one and doing that one. This I don't care, like, personality, like, is coming out. And then what happens? What happens? 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years later, who's hitting your line? That ex-boyfriend. Let me tell you, I had an ex of mine. We broke up when I was maybe like 20, early 20s. he was still hitting me up 11 years later, 12 years later, until I finally blocked him because, yeah, I blocked him. Telling me, like, we're gonna get married one day and all of this crazy shit. After he, like, cheated on me with one of my friends and did all this crazy stuff at, like, what? Married, engaged a few times. He was still calling me. Like, men just don't deal with things in real time. And then it's like, the one that got away. Like, no, you fucked my best friend. Like, what do you mean I'm the one that got away? Like, you fucking got me away from you, actually. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, but that's how they are. And then you hear from them down the line, and because they start getting smacked with these feelings that they were pushing down. You can only push down so much before you either deal with it or you become angry and bitter and just start acting way out of pocket, which we see that too. So I think it's very important for everybody, man, woman, child, whoever, to deal with things in real time as they come to the best of your ability if you can. Because otherwise, the process of healing is just so much longer. And it's already a struggle getting through certain things. So that's my episode for the week. We're going to do the high and low because, like I said, I need to lean more into my gratitude. So the low of the week is actually a high, right? Because I'm not feeling great. I'm going through some things, but I'm healing in the process. So even though it feels really shitty right now, it is for the greater good. So I'm really grateful for therapy. I'm grateful I have a place that I can talk. And that is my high and low of the week in one, right? And I'm also really grateful that I have this space to go through these things with no pressure. So, yeah. I think that's it, guys. I am going to go wallow in self-pity like the Grinch. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you, I think, next week. I am thinking of taking a little break in August because I'll be away 2 times, but we'll see how it goes. And we'll go from there. As always, if you have any topics, questions, concerns, problems you need advice on, please send them to tgrpod.nyc@gmail.com. And tune in every Sunday for another episode. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and you can also catch me on Spotify. And I will link all my socials in the description. Love you. Bye.